Welcome to the Grizzlies Sports Report. I'm your host, Shaun Rainey. Beautiful day here in late October. Hard to believe that Montana hasn't won a game this calendar month. It's March Madness time. We've played the whole regular season. Now we're ready for the Big Sky Conference tournament down in Reno. I'm heading there. Bags are packed, ready to roll. Welcome everyone inside the Reno Event Center for the Big Sky basketball tournament. Both fan bases hoping that the winner of this game can make it into the playoffs and keep their season going. About an hour away from first pitch. We're really excited. Come out to Ogan Park Legion Field. Enjoy the game. Yeah, Coach, it's been over 7 years since you were able to run down that tunnel and coach inside this stadium. What was that like?
Well, it was freaking awesome.
All right, for this edition of Tee It Up, look who we have here. Voice of the Grizz, voice of the Cats, right next to each other. This could get a little feisty. Welcome to Wichita. That's the motto that's on all the banners here on the Intrust Bank Arena, the site where the Montana Grizzlies, the 14 seed, will be taking on the 3-seeded Michigan Wolverines. Later on in the day, Michigan took the floor. Got a chance to see them. They are very long. They are very big and athletic. It's going to be a tough test for Montana. Shaun Rainey joined by the voice of the Grizz, Riley Corcoran, about to take off for Cedar City, Utah.
Great game by the Chargers tonight.
And I have never been happier to be wrong in my entire life. Players to watch for in today's game are the starting corners for Montana, Justin Calhoun and Darian Nash. Now, both of these guys came to Montana as wide receivers.
The World Series tonight, history in Los Angeles.
Yeah, the longest World Series game in history. Whew. It took 18 innings. And Max Muncy, thank you. Thank you. You are our savior. Yeah, but I mean, look at it. I don't have any nails. Biting them all off. That was the craziest game. How's it going, everyone? Inside the SWX production truck is we're getting set to have Hellgate and Sentinel with a little crosstown doubleheader tonight. Make sure to tune in tomorrow to SWX Montana for the last Grizz home softball game of the year. There I am. Montana finishes up the series with Sac State. I'm live here inside Dahlberg Arena where the defending Big Sky champion, the Montana Grizzlies, hosting the Sacramento State Hornets to open up Big Sky Conference play. We started about 15 minutes before the show, and we were able to fill a pallet in about 20 minutes. I'm used to doing these live shots with Ben, and we're normally kind of spot on, so we'll get a little, no.
So at 72, for the first time in her life, she came here to the YMCA to learn how to swim.
What about when a ref makes a bad call? Do you respond to it more as a player, coach, or inside when you're watching as a spectator for your girls?
Probably a spectator.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I was going for. You got to do your voice. Everyone says you got the radio voice. So you got. So I don't know. Maybe look into the camera, and then just be like, "We'll be back on SWX tonight." Ready?
Okay.
You think you can do it? All right.
We'll be back on SWX tonight.
And Jake played football for the Darby Tigers, was the epitome of a great teammate and friend. And the story is about him, his family, and how he galvanized the town who opened their hearts in support of a young man going through a brutal battle. Jake Sanders loved being a Darby Tiger. He enjoyed putting on his 61 uniform, and he loved going out on Friday nights and playing football with his teammates.
He was just always there for everyone and positive. He was one of the best teammates you could ask for.
Jake, better known as Sunshine for his long blonde hair, hasn't played for Darby in 2 years, but he certainly left an impression.
He was kind to the freshmen, and you don't get that with all the seniors. You know, some of them want to intimidate them, and Jake wasn't like that.
Jake was planning on going to the University of Montana, and when he was moving into the dorms, he felt some chest pains. He went to see a doctor who would give him some unexpected and terrifying news. He had an inoperable tumor, stage 3 non-Hodgkin's T-cell lymphoma.
I just thought it was a mistake. I thought it couldn't be cancer. I mean, he was an athlete, played 3 sports all 4 years. Totally in shock.
The next 11 months would be living out of hospitals in Salt Lake City and Houston, trying chemo, experimental trials, everything they could, but it wasn't working.
It was hell. It was trying to put a smile on my face for Jake when I know where this was going. You know, it's probably the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my life. Admitting that you're 20 years old and this is all, and it's unfathomable to me.
Last week, Jake came back home to Montana to live out his last days. He got back in the middle of the night, but that didn't stop most of the town of Darby from lining the streets to welcome him back. The football team came by his side, signs and messages everywhere across town as they opened their hearts for one of their own.
Love you, Jake.
Stay strong, man. Love you, Jake. Welcome home, man.
I will tell you that this little town of Darby, Montana came together like nobody I've ever seen before. I mean, the emotion, the outpouring of love, the affection, the kindness, and it's just been an amazing outpouring of love.
You'll never know, dear, how much I love you, so for our sunshine we'll play.
Over the coming days, friends and family visited Jake at his home, paying their last respects, knowing the end was near.
Told me he's scared. I promised him I wouldn't leave him, and I haven't. And it's just, this is not natural. But he's optimistic. He's like, he's okay. He's at peace. He's at peace with himself. There have been no tears. There's been no anger. You know, he's just at peace.
On the morning of October 10th, after nearly a year's battle, Sunshine passed away peacefully, surrounded by his family, with his Tigers jersey hanging by his side. The lives he touched, the way a small town opened their hearts, and his spirit will never be forgotten. And now there's just a little extra sunshine up in heaven.
A little extra sunshine up in heaven. You know, we saw the number 61, and that has a little bit more meaning, obviously, with the passing of Jake, but even more so tomorrow night.
Yeah, they're going to retire his jersey tomorrow, and then they're going to turn the lights off after the game and light the Chinese lanterns and send them off. And I know the volleyball team wore yellow today in honor of him, and you know, we'll continue to follow along with this story and with Darby. Welcome back. It is now my privilege to tell the story of this amazing woman, Vernie Burkett. Now, when I sat down with Vernie, I asked her how she would describe her life, and she said, well, it's been one tragedy after another. Well, despite all the adversity she's faced, she continues to put a smile on her face and inspire others.
I love to play bingo.
I'm 26.
Every Wednesday afternoon at the Brookdale Senior Living Facility, Vernie Burkett can be found at her corner table with her 3 cards in hand playing bingo.
And then when we win, we get these gift certificate things and we go shopping at our local store that we have here. Yeah.
As you might be able to tell, Vernie has a pretty happy-go-lucky personality.
Just very social, always out and about, just everywhere, talking to all the residents.
Oh my goodness.
But 5 years ago when Vernie got to Brookdale, things were much different.
She was wheelchair bound. She could maybe walk a foot or two at a time.
That's because 5 years ago, Vernie was diagnosed with breast cancer. A week after the startling news, she had to have both breasts removed.
The breast cancer was, I had no choice in it. I had to have them removed.
All right, here you go.
But what cancer didn't realize was it picked the wrong woman to mess with.
And I outgrew the fear of it.
Vernie is now in remission. She conquered cancer. And because of that, it gave her the courage to face her biggest fear, water. So at 72, for the first time in her life, she came here to the YMCA to learn how to swim. What's the hardest part?
Keep from going to the bottom.
But after just 4 lessons, Vernie was definitely on her way to becoming the next Michael Phelps.
She is a lot more comfortable, so she hops in on her own, gets all of her stuff out on her own, can do all the workouts without me being in there.
Beating cancer gave Vernie the courage to face her fear of swimming. And now that she's done that, well, she thinks she can do anything.
I learned I'm stronger than I thought I was. And I can do things that I never thought I could. And it's wonderful to know that you can do things that you never figured.
Despite her cancer, despite her lifelong fear of water, Vernie has never quit, and it's inspired others. Because as it turns out, there's now a group of residents that have requested to join Vernie to give swimming a try too.
We have a whole group now who's wanting to do that, so we're working on getting a group together to go over and do swim lessons or swim some sort of exercise.
You can't just sit in a chair. You're wasting your life if you just sit there in the chair and don't do nothing. And the world profits from your experiences.
And perhaps all of us can profit from the strength and courage shown by Vernie. And Vernie wants to thank Wish of a Lifetime for giving her the ability to conquer her fear of swimming. Thanks, Megan. Well, yesterday on SWX Tonight, I shared the story of Devin McClain. He's a freshman at Stevensville High School, and he was born with a condition that renders his arms basically useless. So he grew up doing everything with his feet. And this year, he decided to try out for the wrestling team.
You know, he's not going to win a state title, but he's just an amazing kid who changes lives through the example that he sets. And you look at that and you just sort of point to him and say, watch, right? And hopefully that's the kind of inspiration that I know it is to other kids. And for him too. And that he'll look back on this and come back and see us in years and say, hey, here's Devin coming back to see how the room is doing. Because he's a part of it, and he is.
I've learned that I'm a lot stronger than I think I am, and I can overcome any obstacle if I just put my mind to it and do it.
So that was just a little snippet. How cool is this? Last night, Chuck Peterson from Deer Lodge was watching, and he emailed us saying he was born without arms and was a manager of his high school and college wrestling teams, and he also played the trombone just like Devin. And Chuck hopes to meet Devin one day. And so, I exchanged emails for both of them. And as he reminds, he really said that Devin just reminds him of himself. Now, if you want to watch the full story, you can go to our website, swxrightnow.com. Yeah, the defending Big Sky champs, Montana Grizzlies visiting Eastern. You watch the game right here on SWX. Ben, the Grizz coming out after a stunning loss to Portland State.
Yeah.
So you thought that they might come out firing, and they did. Michael Ogine hits the 3, they're up 9, and then Timmy Falls, check this out, behind the back pass to Marco with the slam. They're up 11, and you're like, oh, good. Yeah, they're mad that they lost. They're gonna come out and smoke the Eagles. And then the Eagles go on a 15-1 run to end the first half, and they couldn't miss a 3. Look at the bench. I mean, they're enjoying it, as that's the team that they lost to in the title game last year. Here's another 3 ball. Everything was going in from distance for Eastern Washington. Montana trying to get back in it. Nice play here to Michael Ogine, the alley-oop. But Eastern came in at 2-12 with their record, and they win 78-71. He would have quite a game. This one got off to a wacky start. Watch this opening kickoff, line drive, doink. Oh no! The Blue Devils, watch it again. Just kind of lowers his head and I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen that. Just start a game.
Never.
But Frenchtown would get the ball back. There he is, Jace Klusewicz putting his hat on the ball, and that would be Frenchtown ball. And then second quarter now, Corvallis trying to score, 4th down from about the 10-yard line, and then Klusewicz steps in front of that, and woo, he's gone 96 yards for the score. Frenchtown wins 31-8. And it was all Chiefs in the beginning. Damian Williams gets the touchdown. If you picked him up in fantasy, you were a happy camper. 21-7. Then Mike Williams, are you kidding me? Off the reverse, looking like Melvin Gordon there, gets the touchdown to make it 21-14. He'd have a big day with Keenan Allen going out with an injury. And then Damian Williams, once again in the 4th, makes it 28-14. And at this point, I was getting a little sad, a little bit nervous. But Mike Williams again to make it 28-27. So do the Chargers kick the extra point, or do they go for 2? They go for 2. Phillip Rivers up to Mike Williams for the win. The Chargers, the first team this year to be down 14 points with 5 minutes to go and win the game. Teams were 0 for 88 this season in that scenario. Go Chargers, go.